So you're thinking about moving to the Lansing, Michigan area, and you had no idea that Michigan had some of the highest auto insurance in the entire country. Well, surprise! Well, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you why Michigan auto insurance is so expensive. Also, what is Michigan no-fault insurance? And if you stick around until the end, I'm going to be sharing with you what my money-saving tips are for you to be able to keep those insurance costs low. And we're going to get started with this episode of Lansing Michigan Life right now. Hi everybody, Troy Seifert here with the Capital Area Real Estate Specialist here in Lansing, Michigan. And we get phone calls from people every day looking to find a place to live in the Lansing, Michigan area. So whether you're looking to move here 6 days, 60 days, or even 6 months, we'd be happy to help you out. Please call, text, email us at the information in the description below. Also, we'd love to schedule a Zoom with you if you had some availability to. And if you could please subscribe, like, comment on this post, I would greatly appreciate that. And then ring the bell for any notifications so you can be fully informed of when the next episode of Lansing Michigan Life is going to be coming up, which usually we post videos about twice a week. So we'd love to see you subscribe and see everything that Lansing, Michigan has to offer. Car insurance is a tricky thing in Michigan. And, you know, I learned from my mistake of when I first moved here to the area, because I didn't know anything about car insurance. I was 24 years old. My wife and I lived in Virginia, and I get an auto insurance quote. I give a call to the insurer, and I'm thinking, okay, well, we pay this much in Virginia. It's got to be this much in Michigan. We should be fine. And my insurance costs basically tripled when I gave a phone call to a Michigan agent asking for a quote, and came to realize that Michigan auto insurance is just high everywhere. In fact, they are in the top 5 in the country. For a while, they were the top 2, but it looks like some of the states have kind of caught up, like New York and Florida have kind of entered the mix with auto insurance claims. Some of them with Florida, I think part of it has to do with all the natural disasters that happen in there, and they've had quite a bit of claims from some catastrophic claims. So Michigan is definitely in the top 5 though. And another little tidbit about me that you might not realize is that before I got into real estate, I was in insurance. I sold insurance for State Farm. In fact, I was like the Jake from State Farm. I heard all the jokes about Jake from State Farm on the commercials when those first became popular. So before I got into real estate, I was a part of insurance. So I know enough about this field to be dangerous. So hopefully you will be able to, hopefully learn something from me, because I do know more than the average Joe when it comes to auto insurance. The one thing I want to tell you though, I am no longer licensed. So I had to kind of give a plug to you to talk with an insurance broker, because I'm no longer licensed anymore, and I don't want to be liable for maybe a decision or maybe something that I said to you that might have been wrong. But I'm pretty sure I'm right about these things, and I've checked with one of my friends who's in insurance, and I still feel like I'm right, but I did want to start with that disclaimer just to let you know I'm no longer licensed. So please do get with an insurance person. And I do have an insurance person, an insurance broker that represents several companies that would love to be able to talk with you and help you out. I used to be in auto insurance. Auto insurance in Michigan is mandatory. It's not something that is optional. You have to get auto insurance. It's just the way it is. And there are some states, maybe you come from a state where it is not mandatory to have auto insurance, it's optional. And so your rates are a lot less. Well, in our state, it's mandatory. That can be part of the reason why it's so expensive. The average cost of insurance for a family of 4 that has no teen drivers and has 2 cars. And with these 2 cars, you have full coverage, which means you have comprehensive and collision coverage. That's what that's known as. Roughly, it's around $3,000 a year for 2 cars. So you're looking at around $275 a month, folks, that you need to budget when you move here to go towards your auto insurance. And that's why I feel like this video is so important, because you're paying a mortgage, but it's also good for you to know the other things that you have to pay for here in Michigan. So just to let you know, It's roughly around $3,000 for the year. If you have a teen, I'm so sorry with this bad news here, but if you have a teen or two, it's gonna be worse if you have two, but if you have one, on average, it's $4,500 a year if you have 2 cars. So if you have 3 cars, it might be more. If you have 2 student drivers, it's gonna be more than that. So again, that's on average, because in Michigan, you are given an insurance score. It's not a credit score, must say that, it's an insurance score, but there are elements of credit attached to that insurance score. So everyone's insurance score is different. You might have a friend that you know of here that's paying totally different on the same car than yourself. You're like, why is that? Well, everybody has their own insurance score. So that's something for you to be aware of when you are looking at auto insurance rates. Also, if you are under the age of 25, and now it depends which insurance carrier you're with, but usually if you're under the age of 25, your auto insurance is gonna be more than somebody who's 25 or older. Usually that's the breaking point for new rates. So if you go, in some insurance carriers, it's every year that's your birthday, the rate can go less and less the older you get up to age 25. So that's on average how much it is for auto insurance. Now, people typically say that Michigan is a no-fault state. And hey, that's why it's so high, because Michigan's a no-fault state. And you know what, like, I don't think people really understand what no-fault state means, okay? I've talked with people and they can't explain it to me. So I wanna explain it to you here as clear as possible what being a no-fault state means. So being a no-fault state in the state of Michigan means if you get into an auto accident with somebody else, you guys can exchange insurance information. There still will be a police report. There's still gonna be somebody that's going to say who is more at fault than the other person. But when you are going to repair your car, you guys are gonna go through your own insurance companies. You're not gonna go to the person's insurance company that might have been at fault. And that's how it is in some states. So Michigan, with us being a no-fault state, that's how that works. That's how the process works. That is part of the reason why insurance is so expensive, but it's not the entire reason at all. So some of you might be saying, hey, like, if I'm not at fault, then why does that person just get away scot-free? Well, that's not what no-fault insurance means, okay? You still can go after the person whose fault the accident was. And the way that you can do that is in the state of Michigan, if you have what's known as standard collision coverage, you pay a deductible. On average, it's like a $500 deductible that you have to pay out of pocket if you do get into an auto accident. But there is a coverage that you usually have on your auto insurance. It's known as a mini tort claim. With that mini tort claim, what that does is it can cover up to $1,000 of your deductible. It can cover you to go after the other person's insurance company for that deductible, so you don't have to pay your deductible out of pocket. You still go through your own insurance companies, so you still have to go through your company, but your insurance company can collect from the other person's insurance company if the other person was found to be at fault. So that's option 1 that you have. Option 2 that you have is you can get a coverage known as broad form collision. Broad form collision, what that means is that your deductible is waived if the accident's not your fault. It's automatically waived. And that can help cover you in case you're in an accident and someone drives off, okay? If someone drives off and you have standard collision coverage because you can't collect from the other person's insurance company, you're gonna have to pay that $500 deductible, right? And it's not gonna seem fair. If you get the upgraded coverage known as broad form collision, the rule of thumb is your deductible is waived if the accident's not your fault automatically. So if the police report finds that you're not at fault, the insurance company finds you're not at fault, that deductible is waived. The only time you pay that $500 deductible is if you're found to be at fault in an accident. That is upgraded coverage and more expensive, but for some people it's worth it. So yes, Michigan's a no-fault state, but the rules still work out the same. That somebody's gonna be at fault, it's going to put points on their license. There could be some effects to their insurance going up due to that, okay? It's not like, oh man, I'm gonna have to pay money to get my car fixed if it's not my fault. Michigan still has those laws in place. So I wanted to be clear just to all of you what no-fault insurance truly means. So hopefully you have a better grasp of that. So, which leads me into why is it so expensive? I mean, that's one of the reasons why it's expensive, because of everyone goes to their own insurance company, right? But the other reason why it's so expensive in Michigan is because we have some great coverages for medical due to being in a car accident, due to losing wages due to being in a car accident. I mean, those are two huge coverages that cover a lot of expenses. Now, in our state for the longest time, everybody had unlimited medical coverage and it was mandatory. No one had an option. And then for the wage loss, if you were to lose any wages due to being in a car accident, the state of Michigan covers up to 85% of your lost wages up to a 3-year period. So with having the wage loss, as well, having both of those coverages, those are great coverages, but they were mandatory. No one had options. The government of Michigan decided to say, hey, we're gonna try to save premiums because Michigan rates are so high in the state. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna let you have options. We're gonna let you have tiers. It's no longer unlimited. You can have $500,000 cap, $200,000 cap, $100,000 cap. So for the longest time, people thought, like, this is great. I'm gonna save money on auto insurance. But that's been in place, I would say, for the last three years. And what ended up happening with that is that the auto insurance rates actually ended up going higher. There's due to be like maybe about a 15 to 20% increase throughout the state, just because of claims that are out there right now. So having the what they call no-fault reform with unlimited medical and wage loss coverage, it really didn't end up saving people money in the long run. And for me, this is gonna be a little bit of my soapbox of unlimited medical, because you're thinking to yourself, well, do I have to have it? I mean, the probability is super slim that I'm going to need to have this unlimited medical coverage and wage loss that I'm probably not gonna use. And I use this story from when I was in insurance because I feel like it's an extremely powerful story of how this coverage works. So when I was working in insurance, I had a client, she was about early 20s, and her mom gives us a call at our office and says, hey Troy, my daughter, she got in a car accident. This is my client's mom calls. My daughter's been in a car accident. She's got a long road ahead. She hit a tree in a rainstorm, and I don't know what's gonna happen to her. So because of this, because of this being in a car accident, even though it might have been her fault, it might not have been, you get unlimited medical coverage. So for the entire duration, and the unlimited also covers you for the rest of your life. So if you got seriously injured and it was a life-altering accident, you would have coverage for the duration of your life. It's a lot of money. And this girl became paralyzed, and it's a sad story because she had a lot going for her and became paralyzed, but her mom was like incredibly grateful for the coverage that Michigan had for her, because not only did she have the unlimited medical, she did have wage loss for up to 3 years, okay? It's not for the life of her daughter, but it helps some. But the other beautiful thing about the coverage is that for her, she ended up having to alter her house to become handicap accessible. And the coverage that we have in Michigan covered all of that. And so she was able to do an addition, put ramps up on the house. That coverage right there of like putting a ramp and just having it at someone's house, that's awesome, that's amazing. And so while the probability for you to not have this coverage is pretty high, it does really give you the peace of mind that if something were to tragically happen to somebody in your family or to your kids, whatever, you would at least have coverage in the event of an auto accident. So that's a lot of the reason why the premiums are so high. They do have a surcharge known as the Michigan Catastrophic Claims Premium that goes up every 6 months. Sometimes it can fluctuate a little bit, but that's around $100, I wanna say, per vehicle per 6 months. That's another charge, but it goes towards those catastrophic claims in the state. And so I would encourage you, if you're looking at auto insurance, because you're gonna be given the options of tiers, to really highly think to yourself, like, is this something I should have? Because according to my insurance agent friends, it saves you roughly about $8 to $9 a month in your auto insurance premiums. It's not because that coverage is $8 to $9 less, but you have other coverages like liability that have gone up. And so with the liability claims, what happened is people got different tiers, and hopefully I'm not boring you with all these details here, but I feel like this stuff is just good for you to know. So with the tiered system that we have now, somebody could choose $100,000 or $200,000, $250,000 for their medical coverage, right? Let's say if they got into a life-altering accident like that client I just talked about, okay? And they did not have enough medical coverage for that. Well, then what they could do is they could sue the at-fault party. And now what we've got is a liability claim. And so because of that, the liability claims went up. So liability on all insurances went up because there were more claims. So this whole law about trying to save people money ended up backfiring, because it really did not do the job that it was supposed to do. It didn't really save money to people. But all to say, to end on a positive note, these coverages are great if you take full advantage of them. So in this video, I think I told you I'm gonna give you some ways that you could save on your auto insurance coverage. And these are just some tips I have for you when you're looking to shop around in the Lansing area. The first tip I'll give you is this, is that if you're going to be in a more populated area, usually more populated areas cost more than the suburbs. Now, it all depends on how many claims have happened in that area. That's just how insurance works. If there are a lot of claims in a certain area, then those insurance premiums could be higher. But typically, to help you save in auto insurance, if you find an area that doesn't have as many people or a lot of traffic, that more than likely could help you save on your insurance premiums. The second thing that I will tell you is to find an insurance broker, not a captive insurance person. What I mean by that, an insurance broker is going to have 5, 6, 7 companies that maybe they'll shop around for to see what the best rate is. A captive insurance company is a company like State Farm, like Geico, ones that just are their own company, and that's who you get your rate from, and that's it. I find going with an insurance broker can help you compare what other places have and what the different coverages are. I have a contact, like I said earlier, an insurance friend that is an insurance broker that you could contact me and I could give you their contact information if you want to find out more about this. The other way to save on your insurance is to use the same insurance company for your home and auto, because when you do that, you have a multiple policy discount and you save on both policies typically. Now, if your insurance agent saw, hey, well, your house rate is still a lot less going through this company, but your auto insurance, your broker will be able to tell you like what's going to be the best fit for you, but more than likely being able to put the policies together will give you an additional discount. Another thing, when it comes to personal injury protection, if your medical insurance that you get in the state of Michigan, if your medical insurance covers you first in an auto accident, you can get a discount. I call it a quote unquote discount, but you'll have a lesser rate if your medical insurance covers you first in an auto accident, and then it goes to the personal injury unlimited medical through your auto insurance. So that's something that you have to check with your medical insurance provider to see if they provide coverage for you first in the event of an auto accident. If they don't, then don't get that discount coverage, okay? Keep with like the original coverage of going through your insurance first. The other way that you can save too is if your long-term disability policy, if it goes first in the event of an auto accident and covers you, because then that can save money on your auto insurance, because they're not going to have to go through the state to be able to help you to help get the wages for you that you lost. So again, another tip for you, an licensed insurance agent should be able to tell you those options as well too, but figure you should be aware with that. Number 3, make sure your insurance agent informs you of all eligible discounts. And I will also say this as well with number 3, because they go hand in hand. Don't just go online to find an insurance quote and think that you're gonna be able to figure out what you need. Okay, you're gonna maybe get sticker shock when you go online to statefarm.com or allstate.com, or you're gonna get sticker shock when you try to figure it out yourself. You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's like, get on the phone, talk to an agent. They all have to be licensed and insured in the state of Michigan to be able to talk with you. Get on the phone with them, have them explain your coverages, but then also Have them explain all the discounts, because if you have a teen, you might get a good student discount. You'll have safe driver discounts. You'll have multiple policy discounts. You'll have all these discounts that you could be eligible for, but really a human being is going to be able to review that with you, not just a computer, okay? So again, that's my next one. And then the next one I would have to say is try to drive older vehicles, not brand new. And if you're coming from out of state and you have a brand new vehicle, I'm just letting you know your insurance is gonna be really, really, really high. So I'm not telling you, hey, go ahead, trade in your car, get a clunker or whatever. I'm not saying that. But I want you to be aware that the newer your car is, I mean, part of it too has to do with like how susceptible your car is to getting damage to it. Each car has its own rating, right? So, but typically the newer the car, the higher the rate. So if you do have older cars, that'll help you in the long run. So I'll also say with having a brand new car, okay, the one downer of having a brand new car, this is not really insurance related, but I'll get to this in a later video, but just be aware of having a brand new car in our state, because when the snow season comes, salt is gonna be all over the roads. It's gonna get in your undercarriage. You're gonna get rust. Your car's not gonna look pretty unless you go to the car wash every single day, which, or every 2 or 3 times a week, and get one of those car wash memberships. Go for it, great. But, so maybe that's another tip I can give you. If you get a brand new car, have a car wash membership, okay? If you get anything else from this, no. But having an older car will give you a lesser rate, which then leads me to my last tip. If you have a teen driver, I think I told you teen drivers are gonna cost you an exorbitant amount of money on your auto insurance, okay? But if you have a teen driver, see if you can get maybe a car that's really old. Your kid's gonna hate me for this, okay? But you're paying the bills more than likely, right? Maybe you'll have your kid pay the insurance bills, but more than likely you're gonna pay the bills as a parent. And get a clunker of a car, put basic liability insurance on it. You don't have to have comprehensive and collision coverage on it, and have your kid assigned to that car. Now that might not be the car that your kid drives all the time, might not. Your kid can drive whatever car that they want in the household. They just have to be rated on a car. So that's just a little tidbit to maybe put your kid on the oldest car possible within your household. And if at all possible, having a car that just has the basic liability coverage, the bare bones minimum that must be had. That might not be a bad idea. Well, thanks again for coming here to my channel, and hopefully a lot of this information here was extremely helpful to you. Again, with being in insurance before, I feel like I gave you the most accurate information I could. But again, if you need more information on insurance, I know a guy that could be able to help you out, so just let me know. Also, if you're looking to buy a home or even sell a home within the state of Michigan or in the Lansing area, please give me a call, text me, email me, schedule a Zoom call. Would love to be able to talk with you about your real estate needs. And also, please like, subscribe, comment on this video, ring the bell for any notifications so that you can be fully informed of any other videos that I have that come out about the Lansing, Michigan area. So again, thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it, and make it a great day.